Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, October 20th, 2012. This is episode 919. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Stamps.com. Start using your time more effectively with Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it right from your desk. For our special offer, visit Stamps.com, click the microphone, and enter Tech Guy. That's Stamps.com, offer code Tech Guy. And by GoToMeeting with HD Faces from Citrix, the powerfully simple way to meet and collaborate with colleagues and clients from anywhere. You can share the same screen and see each other face-to-face with HD video conferencing, even from an iPad. Sign up for your 30-day free trial today. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code TECH. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your iPhone, iPad, MacBook, or Android smartphone. Find out what your gadget's worth and get cash to upgrade to the iPhone 5 or the iPad mini at Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? It's time for that Tech Guy show. That guy who's on the radio, Martha, the guy who talks about the computers, the internet, and them newfangled cell phonies. Hey, everybody. 8888 Ask Leo, in case you want to know, that's the phone number. You want to call and ask a question, make a suggestion. If you want to comment on something, I'd love to hear from you. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Give me a call. Let's talk tech. We got a big... I tell you, these guys, they can't stop. They can't stop with the announcement mania. So Apple did send out invitations to an event this Tuesday, basically saying, "Oh, we got something else. we got another thing. Oh, and another thing." It's at a smaller venue this time, which we all, it's so funny. It's no longer surprising. Nothing's surprising anymore. Oh, okay. And this is probably what we said they would be doing, right? Which is announcing an iPad mini. But now we're filling in the gaps. And again, these are all rumors. It's nobody says what they're up to. Apple doesn't say what they're up to. The suppliers aren't supposed to say what they're up to. But it's hard when you're building millions of devices in China. It's hard not to keep it a secret, to keep those people quiet. Hey, shut up. We're working here. We're trying to surprise everybody. I don't know surprises. So here's what we think we know. Apple will have an event. We know this much. Tuesday. It'll be a smaller event on the campus. That's what we expect. The invitation to the event, I'm trying to find it here because I didn't get one. They don't send me one. The invitation to the event said something like, "Oh yeah, we're not done yet. We got another thing, and another thing coming." Here's everybody agrees. This is the iPad Mini event they've been talking about. The iPad Mini would be 7.85 inches, a little bit bigger than the 7-inch tablets that are selling like hotcakes from Amazon and Google, because they're so cheap. They're $200, $250 in that ballpark. The iPad Mini, I would guess, and I think this is the consensus among the rumor mongers, is going to be basically an iPad 2. So it'll have the same screen resolution as an iPad 2, but in a smaller screen, so it'll look good. 1024 by 768. Because it'll have roughly iPad 2 specs. It'll be, fast enough to run all its software, including Siri. I would expect iOS 6 and Siri will be on there. Probably will not have a 30-pin. In fact, I know nothing Apple's going to release from now on will have a 30-pin connector. It'll have this new Lightning connector. All the iOS devices will have Lightning by the end of the year. In fact, the rumor is also they'll be showing off new iPad, the big iPad, the big brother iPads with a mini connector, and maybe some slight improvements. The other, maybe more surprising is that we expect there will be new Mac Minis, a Retina MacBook Pro 13-inch to match its 15-inch big brother, and probably new iMacs. There will not be Retina iMacs. They're too big. That screen is, even the 21-inch, too big. You can't. It's hard enough to move 15 inches of high-density pixels. 21 and 27 are right out. 9 to 5 Mac, which seems to know these things, says the price points will be very similar to the current models. The 3 Mac Mini models will be $599, $799, and $999. The new iMac, same pricing, but the top 27-inch might be a little less expensive in some countries. The current iMac's $1199 to $1999 for 21 up to 27 inches. They're nice. Apple doesn't really have much of a commitment to desktop computing anymore. They make so much money on the mobile stuff. That's really where they want to sell stuff. The real question mark is, what will the price be of the new iPad? And 9 to 5 Mac is saying it's likely to start at $329 for Wi-Fi only. $329. And that would be 8 gigabytes, which means it's probably not going to be the one you want. You probably want to go to $399 for a 16 gigabyte. This is what the sources are saying. We don't know. We also expect, and I think this makes a lot of sense, that this iPad announcement will be big about on education. I think Apple is going to position the 7.85-inch iPad, this iPad Mini or whatever they call it. They won't call it that, I can guarantee you. They'll be pitching that at schools. They'll be promoting their new iBooks 3.0 and their iBooks Author. And one of the reasons you'll want 16 gigs or more is that these books tend to be very big, 5 or 6 gigs in some cases. That means you get 2 books on an 8 gig at best. You will be, I'm sure, able to get 3G as well, but all of that's going to add up. So remember, all Apple really worries about is that lowest number, because they say starting at, and they don't want it to be too much more than Google and Amazon are charging, but they don't want it to be too little either. So $329, that sounds about right. I'd have liked to have seen $259 or $299. So that's Tuesday. Friday, Windows 8 comes out, and Microsoft is opening 32 pop-up stores, little instant stores in malls all over the country to sell the Surface tablets. I've pre-ordered mine, and by next weekend I should have it and be able to demonstrate it to you over the radio. So that's Windows 8 RT. They will also be shipping Windows 8 desktop and a number of computer companies like Lenovo and Dell and HP will be offering desktop versions of their computers with Windows 8 running on it. So the announcement, the party is Thursday, and the actual devices start arriving on the 26th, Friday, a week from yesterday, this coming Friday. But then we're not done yet. No. Because October, is it 29th? I think it's 29th. Windows Phone, there's a Windows Phone event in San Francisco. We'll finally see all the details of Windows Phone 8, and we'll get pricing and availability on Windows Phone 8. We've seen Windows Phone 8 handsets from Nokia and HTC and Samsung. So we know that we kind of know what they'll look like, but we haven't heard all the details. There's still stuff Microsoft's holding back on Windows Phone 8. And not to be outdone, Google decided to have an event that day too, just a few hours before the Microsoft event, just to remind you, oh, hey, by the way, you've seen the Apple tablets, we have those. You're going to see the Windows 8 phones, we've got those, and they're all running our operating system, Android. Holy cow. And then there's Halloween. I'm not sure what's scarier. I'll tell you, though, for a tech pundit like myself, this is fun. It's great to see competition in a variety of devices. It's great to see a new version of Windows. That's always interesting. There are some saying this will be the last version of Windows. This is going to be a big, fat flop and things like that. There are others who are terribly excited about it. I'll tell you where I sit on it. We're planning to launch a new show about Windows Phone 8 and Windows RT, the Metro, they used to call it. They don't call it that anymore. The Metro tiled interface. That's how I believe it's going to be something worth paying attention to. The market will have to decide whether people will buy them. And I'm not sure. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of resistance, certainly to running Windows 8 on the desktop. But look what's happening. Apple's kind of moving away from the desktop. Maybe Microsoft will, too. Remember, last week, Steve Ballmer sent a note to all the shareholders, actually a couple of weeks ago, saying, hey, just a little note here. We are now a devices and services company. And that's the future of Microsoft. I'm not sure what that means, but the implication is that they're going to be more like Apple. They're going to pay more attention to mobile devices, more attention to web services, SkyDrive, Office in the cloud, things like that. So the whole world is changing very rapidly. And that makes it interesting for us. I love it. So that's the landscape of the next week. Let's talk about it. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, there'll probably be a there is a Samsung announcement too. I left that out. It is the hottest topic in business today, and I have to say, it is what I recommend: moving your business to the cloud. It's what we did with Google Apps, and I'll tell you, you get everything. You get not just email, you get collaboration tools like instant messaging, calendaring, video chat. You get it. When I saw Madonna, hey, by the way, good show. You know what's interesting? The same kind of technology that Roger Waters was using, this very advanced projector technology, she's using now too. Her whole set, the whole stage is virtual, and it's incredible. They have the 3 screens, and they made it look like a cathedral, a 3-dimensional cathedral at the beginning. I mean, what they're doing now, it must have been in the last just year or two. The projection technology and light technology has taken such advances. And CGI. Oh, yeah, because it's all CGI. I mean, it's amazing. And, like, stuff shatters and flies at you, and there's all this. It's incredible. Yeah. The stage shows, go see, if you haven't seen a concert lately, go see a big one, a big production concert, because they're amazing. Greatest shows on earth. Yes. Are we done, Kyle, with our call banking?
Yeah, we just lined them up. Our computer's not even turning on over here. I have no idea.
He doesn't know. His computer's not working.
So I'll give you the list of names real quick.
I feel like we are. We might do one more, but it doesn't have to be this weekend. So let's. Well, why you think of Giz Wiz all the time? And boy, I tell you. Yeah. Yeah, we can start taping the guest segment 3s and Scott maybe. Yeah. Yeah, prepare him. Prepare the way. Two dicks are better than none. So, yeah, the 2012 wall. Did Roger Ambrose win on Hot Set? I mean, did he go on? That's exciting. I didn't see it. I have to watch it. Theater Monkey, there's a lot of $40 tablets. They're crap. They're crap. They've been around, Pantech and others have been making cheap tablets for a while. I wouldn't recommend them. Roger Ambrose went on. They sold 2.5 million $40 tablets. Well, that's 2.5 million people who will be very sad later in life. Have I tried the 30-pin lightning adapter? I have indeed. I have. I don't have the adapter yet. I have the cable adapter, which is the same. It's just with a cable in between, and it works great. Oh, the gun thing. Wow. You know what? Madonna's always been controversial. It's an amazing thing. It's the Quentin Tarantino of songs. It's called Gang Bang, and it's an awesome song. And it's very violent, but it's obviously fake violence, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I saw the MDNA, and it's the best show I ever saw. Don't tell John. And I'm not even like a major Madonna fan, and I just was blown away. It is unbelievable. Oh, at the beginning of her show, she comes down with a machine gun. Yeah, it's not. If people are, Madonna loves that. She wants that controversy. She's also got all sorts of, sacrilegious stuff. She lost her voice. She canceled her show in Dallas. Oh, poor Madonna. Yeah, she was beat up. Denver was tough on her because she couldn't breathe. I don't have. Who's my first caller? I'm still trying to pull this up. Do we have callers?
Yeah, hey, Leo, I'm sorry. I was misunderstanding what you were talking about earlier. We're trying to, the monitor, they took the cord out, so we don't have a monitor. But you're going to go to Jared. He's in Washington, Jerry in Washington on line 1. And I'll get this thing working.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Saw Madonna's concert in Denver on Thursday night. What an amazing show. I know it was very controversial, but that's what she does best. You know, it's great to see her 53 years old and still rocking the boat, making people crazy, and putting on amazing shows. This is the first time I've ever seen her concert, and I'll tell you, there's a technology angle on this. The technology in modern concert tours, if you see a big show, you know, a big production, is light years ahead in the last few years, and it's a combination of projection technologies that have just jumped ahead hugely, and amazing computer-generated graphics in synchrony with the music, in synchrony with the lighting, to give a very vivid 3D reality to the whole thing. They've gotten very good at this. Probably the best show I've ever seen. Just amazing. And I feel bad for Dallas because I understand she's canceled her show down there because of laryngitis. And people say, we're outraged about her gun display in Colorado. And there is a lot of shooting in the show, but I don't find that outrageous. I really don't. The people in Colorado, because of the Aurora thing, thought she should have removed the shooting stuff from her show. But it is, in fact, but part of the show it wasn't something she did just because of Denver. And this is what she does. This is what she does, and she's great at it. And I don't think it was insensitive in any way. I didn't find it that any more than a shoot 'em up movie. It's a show, and in fact, it's very clearly not real violence on stage. What an amazing performance for somebody 53 years old. It's just unbelievable. 8888 Ask Leo. The real uproar, people were booing in the theater because the show started an hour and a half late. But it's a very technical show. It's a very technical show, and you can see that anything goes wrong, or is one projector's out, or they've got to fix something. It has to be fixed, and so I'm sure that I don't know what happened, but I'm sure that's what happened. It's an amazing coordination of. There's a lot of wire stuff, a lot of lifts. The stage moves quite a bit for a portable stage. Quite amazing. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Jerry from Washington. You're next. Leo Laporte. Actually, you're first. The tech guy.
Morning, Leo. Been listening to you for a long time and understand half what you tell me.
Well, by the time you keep listening, and by the time you've listened for a little while, you probably should understand all of it. I don't understand half of it myself.
Great. Hey, I got a Pioneer system in my semi. It's a KH780, and it's CD changer. And it's starting to wear out on me, and I'm trying to get a little bit of advice to get a new system put in the truck.
Wow. If I were a long-haul driver, I presume you're a long-haul driver, I would have a hell of a stereo system too. Rock it out, right? So I am not an expert, however, on car stereo. I presume it's a car stereo, it's a head end and all of that. It's specialized for driving, right?
Right, yeah, it's a good one. We listen to, books on CD and stuff like that. And
that's the other thing I do. Sure, I'd listen to books like crazy. I do anytime I have a long drive. I'll tell you what, Scott Wilkinson's coming up in 7 minutes. He's at 33 after the hour, and I will ask him because I don't know anything to be honest, about car stereo. Maybe somebody listening will know. I should become an expert. This is an opportunity for me to go out. The problem is I'm very happy with my my Ford sync that's built into my Mustang. I don't need to. I don't want to replace it. I like it, so I don't have any need for aftermarket stem. But I'll check it out. Keep listening, Jerry. And what are you looking for?
Basically, something with CDs. I have a 6 CD changer right now. And
that's going to get harder. You know, people are going to phase out CDs for digital technologies. Do you have an iPod or an iPhone? Nightstar in our chat room is saying he loves his JVC K-Wave 70BT. And that supports, as most of these do now, integration. I wouldn't with iPods and other devices. Here's what I would certainly look for. And you'll be able to get CD changers. They're not going away for the near future. But I think it's.
One thing I do like to have is to be able to hook up the Sirius radio.
Yeah,
you know.
You definitely want satellite. Although increasingly, if you've got a good data plan and an A2DP, which is Bluetooth stereo or USB connector. The phone becomes a great source of radio. For instance, things like iHeartRadio, TuneIn Internet Radio, CBS has a radio program. Those give you anywhere in the country, radio stations anywhere else in the country over the Internet, as long as you have enough data on your plan to do that. You also, I wonder how long satellite's going to make a lot of sense, because most of the content, you can even get a Sirius application for your phone and listen to Sirius content through your phone. And then, of course, you also have audiobooks. You have music. You could put Spotify on there. That's what I listen to. So I'm driving to the airport to go see Madonna. What do I want to listen to? Madonna's album. I didn't buy it yet, so I load it up in Spotify, and I can stream it and listen to it. And so I think more and more the ability to play back digital is important. So let's say we want CD, we want Sirius, we definitely want A2DP. That's the Bluetooth profile for stereo audio. Very important, but everything's going to have this. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a USB port. Better, I think, than an analog audio jack. All of them will have a way to plug in a cable, but analog's not going to be as good as if you have something with a USB port, because then it can charge the device. You can get an iPod or an iPhone or something like that. iPhone would be the best, I think, because you charge the device. It's receiving 3G or 4G data. I really think this is the future. You're driving down the road. You don't. By the way, radio stations know this. That's why iHeartRadio exists, because radio stations are saying, yeah, people are listening to our mothership KFI from Los Angeles as they drive through New England, but by the internet, and it's really great for radio stations. So let's look and we'll see, and we'll ask Scott Wilkinson, who's coming up in just a little bit, what he recommends. I'll be honest, I had a Sirius subscription. I let it expire. It's not very expensive. What is it, $100 a year, something like that? I let it expire because I find that everything I want, I can get through my smartphone. I'd rather spend the money on a smartphone data plan and get all the music, all the talk, all the radio, all the audiobooks through my iPhone. Now, there are some things you can't get. You can't get Howard Stern, for instance, yet. I have to think. In fact, I'm sure of it. I know for a fact that Howard's looked at the internet. He's a little old-fashioned, and he just can't quite make the jump. He's making so much money from Sirius. He can't quite make the jump. Can you get sports? Asked Marie on Travel. Well, interesting. You can. For instance, I was listening to Major League Baseball. There's an MLB at-bat program that lets you listen to the audio for either team. So you could listen to, for instance, the Giants play-by-play guys or the St. Louis Cardinals play-by-play guys, depending on which side you wanted to hear. Except, and I was a little miffed, and the postseason wasn't very expensive. I think it was $6. Except, so for those of you on the podcast still listening, except they blanked out the NLCS. The ALCS you could listen to, but not the NLCS. What? And I guess the World Series will be blocked out. So they don't tell you that when you buy it. It's kind of annoying. So those of you on the podcast are actually getting a better show at this point.
Yeah, I didn't hear the music come up.
No. I guess they're having computer problems. I'm still not getting call screening either. You guys need to reboot or whatever. People come in this studio. Nobody uses the studio during the week, I think, and they come in the studio and they trash it. And then poor Kyle's got to come in there and make it all work again. It's just ridiculous. Look, all my new Scotty stuff. You can just put it on that chair there. Well, I guess until we get guests. What the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
It's a trench coat. Wow. We're having a fashion show tomorrow, a Scotty Vest fashion. But I'm already wearing all Scotty Vest. This is a Scotty Vest shirt. See, and I love these Scotty Vest pants. These are the best pants I've ever had. They turn into shorts. Here, give me the. Oh, I got more of those. Good. I love the plaid shirts. I look like a lumberjack. Give me the trench coat. Let me. Oh, that's cute.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
Lisa does not wear pink though. Oh my God! It's got glitter zipper. That is cute. Come on. So pink. With the glittery zipper. That's hysterical.
And look, it's got...
Scott is so funny. It's got diamonds.
Look,
is that the Phoebe? What's that called?
I'm not sure. But I think it's kind of...
Scott, do you know anything about car audio?
Not too much. The only thing I was going to say was for a long-haul trucker, I still think satellite radio is probably a good idea because what if you're in the middle of nowhere and you don't have internet access?
Right. Although increasingly 3G is everywhere. That's a very good point. I'll let you sound smart.
Thank you so very much.
I've never had a trench coat that doesn't have buttons. It just has magnets.
Nice coat.
Yeah, I like it. You know what? I could wear this. Can you hand me the pillbox? Where's the pillbox hat? Oops. I sealed my headphones up inside.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Oh, wait, where'd it go? Maybe somebody stole my pillbox. There it is. That's it. I might be wrong for this. I don't know. Not right, is it? I need a bigger brimmed hat. Yeah, I have a fedora at home. I have all my fedoras here at home because I actually wear those. I like it. You didn't? I gotta get you one. Oh, that's nice. Do you like that? That's nice.
Yeah, I'd like black still. Or red. This came in red. I want this one red.
That's a raincoat.
Yeah, it's like a little...
Look, it's got a little red. Oh, that's the safety pin. You can...
Or did I not get it off?
Yeah.
I thought I did.
You did. It just broke. It was just the head of it broke off.
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah. You think it'll go well with this?
You know, this sparks me up.
Yeah, no, there's cards in every pocket. In fact, I just got some cleaning back that had safety pins to it, a bunch of cards. He thought I wanted to save them. Scott Wilkinson is here, our home theater guru. Scott hosts the Home Theater Geeks show every Monday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on TWiT.tv. And he also answers questions on the secrets of home theater and hi-fi, which is home theater secret. What is it? HomeTheaterHiFi.com?
HomeTheaterHiFi.com.
HomeTheaterHiFi.com. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
Good. Scott's going to be filling in for me. You know, I'm going to Australia next month for a couple of weeks.
Oh, and I hear is that for the eclipse?
Yeah, the total eclipse of the sun. Well, it's not the only reason.
Man.
It's a Mac Mini cruise. So, you know, we've got a bunch of Maxters going.
That's going to be so cool. I am so jealous. One of the things on my bucket list is to see a total solar eclipse.
You've never seen one?
No, I never have.
Oh.
Plenty of partials.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, it's been a while since I've seen one. As a kid, I saw one, and yeah, I can't wait. So we're going to be at sea during that, and I guess the reason is they can try to find, if it's cloudy, they can try to find a clear spot, sail around.
Plus,
you know.
Plus, there's no city lights around anywhere.
Oh,
of course, that doesn't really matter during a solar eclipse. I'm thinking about meteor showers.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
no,
But
it's
anyway.
cool if it really gets dark and you can see the corona and all that. And we have there'll be astronomers on board. It's from Scientific American and stuff. So we're gonna. It'll be fun.
You know, at least I get the consolation of filling in for you, which is always a true thrill for me.
Well, we love it because we get to talk home theater for the whole show, and that's November. You're going to be doing that November 17th and 18th.
Correct.
While I'm away in Australia, 17th and 18th. Now, did you hear our call earlier in the show from Jerry? He's a trucker, and he's replacing his Pioneer stereo system, which he likes with CDs. Now, he said he needs Sirius, and I thought, well, do you really need a satellite radio?
Well, see, I think you do, at least in his case. A long-haul trucker is going to be going across country, right? And he's going to be in lots of areas where there might not be internet access. There might not be 3G or very easily accessed. It might be low signal strength or whatever. So I think satellite radio is still valuable and viable for someone like that because there you can get it anywhere in the country, regardless of where you are. So I would say – I don't know that much about car stereo. Let me say that right off the bat. But I would, if I were in his place, I would want satellite radio.
Yeah.
And if he has a large collection of CDs, then finding another CD changer might be a good idea. The other alternative, of course, is to just digitize them all.
Yeah, see, I hate to carry around. What if you have 100 CDs? That's a lot to carry around. Why,
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And you can fit 1,000 CDs on an iPod. I would. You know what I would do, though, is buy the iPod Classic before Apple discontinues it. That's the biggest iPod, 160 gig hard drive. And, boy, imagine 160 gigs on the road with you. You could drive for months and not repeat songs.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that point. But as far as a
but I gotta say, let me say this. I even think digitized music is passé now. Streaming's the thing. Now, you're right. You don't have 3G or 4G everywhere you go, but I would guess everywhere along the major interstates you've got it. I don't know.
That's probably that may very well be.
If you're going out in the cornfields of Nebraska, maybe not. But if you're going on I-80. Across the country, I would guess that there's 3G. That's a high priority for them to put that everywhere you drive. There's a lot of drivers. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. So it could be along the major corridors, which is where the big trucks would go anyway.
Right.
So it might not be as much of a problem as I think.
Jerry knows best. If Jerry wants Sirius, get Sirius.
Right.
And of course, data limits are an issue. Although
that was the other thing I was going to mention. Exactly.
Yeah, audio. To me, audio
doesn't take up much.
Yeah. I'd have to do some calculations. If you listened, let's say, 16 hours a day, 20 days a month or something like that. I'll do some that's 320 hours. I'll have to do some calculations to see how much data that would be. But I would guess 5 gigabytes would be enough for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not eat up all your time with this question.
Okay.
Although Pioneer continues to make great stuff. I think they're good. JVC's good. I like Alpine. I think Alpine's kind of been state of the art for a long time in terms of things including iPod connectivity and so forth.
Kenwood's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
exactly.
I have some Kenwood ham gear that I like a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else you got?
I got a bunch of questions here. I got one from Eugene Hanks, who's got a 4x4 HDMI matrix switcher. So that has 4 inputs, 4 outputs, and you can direct any input to any output. So it's a very flexible switching system. He's got 3 flat panels and a Denon receiver that he's sending the outputs to. And the inputs include a dish receiver, Roku, and a Blu-ray player.
Wow.
So that's a pretty complicated system.
Yeah.
And his problem is that his Samsung TV displays no signal when he switches one of the sources to that particular flat panel. The other flat panels apparently work just fine. And when he takes the switch out of the signal path and just connects a cable directly to the Samsung, it works. So he's wondering what can be done about it, and he says he thinks it has something to do with the Samsung not handshaking with the switch, and that's exactly correct. There's something about the HDMI handshaking between those 2 particular devices that just isn't working. And there isn't much to do about it, I'm afraid. HDMI has become less of a black art, but it still is slightly a black art, I would say. In the early days, it was really a black art, and things would work or they wouldn't, and you couldn't figure out why. But generally speaking, things are working a lot better now, but occasionally you're going to run into a problem like this. And unfortunately, there really is no good solution. So I have to say, sorry. Now,
that's not nice.
No.
Sorry. I know. I have to do that sometimes, too. Sorry. No
Sorry.
answer. Sorry. Sorry.
Yep. Jake Markovich asks, why do digital TV manufacturers and program providers sometimes ignore picture sizing? Now, this, I have to tell you, really bugs the heck out of me. Because I go to some channels and they're clearly playing standard definition 4:3 content, but they've stretched them out to 16:9. So everybody looks fat. And it just looks horrible. Plus the fact that it's standard definition and any flaws in the picture will get magnified as you do that and as you play it on a big screen. Now, there's not much you can do about the fact that channels, various channels do that. You can write them and complain and jump up and down, but they're probably not going to change it. One thing you might be able to do is in the TV there is something called aspect ratio or picture size, a control that's called something like that. It usually even has its own button on the remote, and so you can go and hit that button until you force the TV into a 4:3 aspect ratio. In which case you'll see black bars, or in the case of plasma, sometimes gray bars on the sides of the picture, but it will be at the correct aspect ratio, which makes it a little more watchable. Jake talks about it being completely unwatchable when they do this. He also complains that the size is so big, and what would be great is if he's got the oh, there we go, the time.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Scott Wilkinson, Home Theater Geeks. Watch every Monday and join us every Saturday for Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I should get you a stopwatch or something. Yeah. Your segment, just so you know, from the point that I start talking, Leo Laporte, the tech guy, is 9 minutes, 25 seconds.
Oh, it's only 9
Have
minutes.
you heard about ESET's
9:25.
security for the Mac yet?
That's long. What are you talking about?
World
Only.
famous lightweight computer protection.
So just why don't you start using a timer or something, because you'll know that you got 9:25, and that's from the minute I start talking.
With a very nice
not from when you start.
ESET's now available.
No, I've got it. I've got it. I will
take her over for a bit here. Finish up what you were saying.
That means
okay. Well, anyway, as I was saying, use the aspect ratio control. Jake says that in Dish Network, when you call up the menu, you have a nice little picture of what the current channel is in and amongst all the menu stuff, and that picture looks pretty good. The only problem is you got all the menu stuff around, and it times out after a little while. Well, I wouldn't want to watch TV like that myself. The best you can do at this point is reset the aspect ratio of the TV to 4:3 in the case of a standard def TV. It's standard def signal. It's still going to be large, and so it's still going to not look that great, but it's the best you can do at this point, unfortunately. Well, I'm glad to know that I only have 9 minutes and 25 seconds because I've got a couple of guests when I'm filling in for you. Now I know exactly how long I have with them. One of them is Gary Rizzo, an Academy Award-winning sound mixer. And so he's going to be very exciting. He won his Academy Award for the sound mixing in Inception. And he's working now on, I think, Wreck-It Ralph, which I'm looking forward to. I saw the trailer the other night, and it's going to be great. And my other guest that I have lined up so far is a guy named Peter Ramsey, who's the director of a new DreamWorks animation called Rise of the Guardians. So both of those guys should be really interesting folks to talk to during the weekend that I'm there, November 17 and 18. I'm going to be really, really very excited to be there. My only bummer is that I won't be on the Eclipse cruise, which I'll do one of those one of these days. But for now, I'm really looking forward to being in the studio and hanging out with all the twits up there. Lawn Dog in the chat room is saying the old 4:3 aspect ratio is going to be an ongoing problem with the 16:9 TVs. Might get worse if they stretch it even wider. Well, that's true. Vizio has a couple of 21:9 TVs. And certainly projectors, you can get to 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio. And if you watch a 4:3 window on those, you got a lot of black real estate on the sides. So yes, you're correct. That is going to be an ongoing problem. And, there still is 4:3 content out there, and it's going to be there for a while. I don't think we're going to get rid of it anytime real soon. Truckee came up with a good timer widget for Apple computers called T-Timer. I'm going to have to get that. Thanks, Truckee. Yes, Midnight Rider, you're correct. I need to. I am working on getting to Dick DeBartolo because I want him to go see the 2D to 3D converter that Gene Dolgoff has developed, and so that we can talk about it when I'm on the show.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. if you've got a question, a comment, a suggestion. Chris is on the line, our second call of the day. Hi, Chris. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Well, hello, Leo. How are you doing
I'm
today?
great. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, I've got a question. I think it's going to be fun for your chat room there to help me out on this. I have an old TiVo. It's a Series 1. It's not even high definition. I bought this back in '99. Everything works. The hard drive spins, but it's really loud. But I want to try and clone the drive. Is there any information I can...
Sure. Yeah, I've done this myself, and you're right. You need to clone the drive because just a regular hard drive in a TiVo won't work. Now, the good news is there's lots of information on the Series 1 out there, and the Series 1 is well worth keeping going because it didn't have any encryption on it. You can, copy the files off of it, all sorts of things. The easiest thing with a Series 1, actually, I wrote a book on this subject. If you can find the book on the Series 1 TiVo, but you can go to the AVS forums, and there's software for cloning TiVo drives. And there's a great company that, if you don't want to go to all the trouble, cloning is a little tricky. You have to hook it up to a computer and so forth. But if you don't want to do that, there's a great company called Weak Knees, WeakNees.com. And they sell drives for, extra high capacity drives for the TiVo 1. They sell special versions of they do everything. WeakKnees.com. Highly recommend them for aftermarket TiVo.
A regular Western Digital or
you can use I think technically you can use any drive, but I always tried to use the same drives that were in it, and I think they are Western Digital. But it's easiest to go to weakKnees.com and see what they have there. And if you want to get information on cloning a drive, you do have to clone it because you have to have some special software on the drive. It's it's not just a regular hard drive. I think it uses the Linux EX2 file system. There's a ext2. There's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do to make it work with the TiVo. You can't just put a drive in. So AVS forums have lots of information on that. And if you don't want to do it all yourself, I do highly recommend a visit to Weak Knees. These guys are great.
Want to do it, so
yeah.
I appreciate your
all right, Chris.
question there, Leo.
My pleasure. Yeah, no, I did the math, by the way. If you wanted to listen, now this is an extreme case, but if you wanted to listen to a high quality 256 kilobits, which is very high quality. You don't really need that high a quality for streaming audio, but I think that on some of the streaming audio you can get that high. Spotify and Pandora, I think, will let you go that high if you pay for the pro accounts. And if you wanted to do it 16 hours a day, allowing 8 hours to sleep, it would be 35 gigabytes a month, which is absolutely not prohibitively expensive. Wouldn't recommend it. 35 gigabytes a month. So that would be another argument, I think, in favor of getting satellite radio. Even if you could pay for it, it'd be cheaper to get satellite radio. Who's next, Kyle?
Jim in Temecula.
Jim in Temecula. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jim.
Leo, thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I have a Windows-based phone right now. Time to upgrade, and I absolutely love the phone, but the apps just aren't quite there. Don't have the same apps. I'm missing some of them that maybe Android.
Now, which version of when you say Windows base, is it Windows 6.5 or is it Windows 7?
Windows 7.
Okay, so you do have the latest Windows Phone. Now, they're going to announce Windows Phone 8, but it's going to roughly be the same app set. It's not going to be much better.
I was asking, is that trend going to get any better, or should I just go back to Android?
You know what? The trend is going to get better. There's no question about that. For one thing, all the Windows 7 apps will continue to run on Windows 8. Microsoft did a bad thing. They didn't release the software development kit to developers yet, which means that while some developers, the big names probably already have been doing it for a while, the small independent guys won't be doing it until the phone comes out. That means it'll take even a little longer for the innovative, interesting apps. They're way behind, understand. You know, there's more than 500,000 apps on Android and iPhone each. And, so I think what most developers are doing at this point is they're saying, okay, we're going to pick one Android or iPhone, develop for that, and if we have enough resources to develop for a second one, we'll do the other one. And then if we're really doing well, if we're an Evernote or a Netflix, then we'll do it for Windows Phone. I can't say whether it's going to get better or not. It really depends on what the market says to Microsoft when this Windows Phone 8 comes out. Right now, we're talking 1 million or 2 handsets. We're not talking a lot of handsets out there. So most developers are not going to devote the resources. It costs them just as much to write the application for an iPhone or an Android phone or a Windows phone. So they're going to pick the ones that have the most potential for making money. So to be honest, I wouldn't. If what you see now on Windows Phone 7 is not enough for you, I don't think it's going to get better. If it gets better, for at least 6 months. And it will have to be a surprising success, and it will take a year. If in the next 6 months the world says, wow, this Windows Phone 8 is great, then maybe. And even then, it will be a year. If you don't want to wait that long, Android or iPhone are the right choices for you. The app ecosystem is really an important part of this, isn't it? If that's what is important to you. Now, remember, you should look at what apps are available. If all you care about is Angry Birds, Netflix, Evernote, Foursquare, the big ones, then you're all right. But Path's not on Windows Phone 8, probably never will be. A lot of the really coolest apps are not. It's that same thing. Remember, I've been on the other side of this equation when early Mac users had the same problem. Everything was on Windows and nothing was on the Mac. And our defense was, well, as long as the apps you want are available, who cares if there's 1 million apps or not? But if the apps you want are not now available on Windows Phone, then I wouldn't hold out hope that they're going to be. I don't see that turning around. Microsoft's just too late. It's not that there's anything wrong with Windows Phone. It's great. But they're entering a market that is a mature market for iPhone and Android. Makes it tough. Oh, Scott's still there. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Leo.
Go ahead.
Do
some more stuff.
I was going to, chat with the chat room, give you a break, but you were busy, so I didn't want to bug you.
I had to get this working. It's all yours now.
Okay. So, hi, chat room. Here I am for another few minutes. Let's see. Midnight Rider was saying that what's going to happen to streaming when we go to 4K or 8K? Good luck on getting that. I agree completely. I just hit send before I came back on here that there's a new compression codec called H.265, which holds some promise in this regard. But it's still going to be very, very compressed. And how good it's going to be when you finally get the stream, anybody's guess. I can't imagine it's going to be all that good. Money 2004. Can I play an instrument? I don't have any nearby, unfortunately. I should always have an instrument nearby. But not this time. Sorry. Cashy's asking, can I recommend the best 42-inch HD TV? Depends on what your budget is there, Kashi. If you want to save a bunch of money, go as low as you can. My favorite is the Samsung EH6000 or EH5000 series. I think those are probably around $1,000 for 42. The only difference between them is the 6000 has frame interpolation at 120 hertz, while the 5000 does not. Otherwise, they're pretty identical. Now, if you're going to be watching mostly movies, I don't think you need frame interpolation, so you could save some money and get the 5000. If you're going to be playing mostly games, I would get frame interpolation. I was mentioning that to somebody else in the chat room earlier, that if you're going to be playing games on an LCD TV, I would think you would want frame interpolation on. Now, frame interpolation can cause what's called the soap opera effect, making everything look like video, but video games are video, so it shouldn't make that much difference, and it will clean up and make sharper all of the motion on the screen, which in video games there's a lot, and it's fast. So that's what I recommend there. Vizio also makes pretty good TVs at very low prices. I think I heard that they're coming out with a 60-inch in the $1,000 or $1,200 range, something like that. It's like, what? Oh my God! So anyway, let's see what else we got here. Web 2957 is asking. Let me just pull it back up here. What do I think of SHV TV? Don't know. Don't know what that is. Tell me what it is. I'll tell you what I think. Truckee says he read somewhere that Apple TV uses an improved, less bandwidth-heavy codec. Did I hear anything?
7.
I don't know.
Leo Laporte,
I haven't
Tech
anything about
Guy.
that.
We'll begin at 6 minutes past the hour from Premier Radio Network.
So I will look into that, though. That's a pretty good. They have to be using H.264 or MPEG-2 or MPEG-4. One of those, and you know they're pretty good, but they're not as good as physical media. Midnight Rider and I were chatting in the chat room about how the death of physical media or not. Physical media is so much more quality than streaming, and that's true. But I said in my comment that people often choose convenience over quality, which is kind of sad but understandable.
Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure, Leo.
All right.
Hey, do you need, when are you going to be doing segment record?
Maybe next Saturday?
Got it.
We'll do a couple?
You got it.
All right. Thanks, Scott. See you.
Thank you.
Well, a good day to you, Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you have a question for me, I'd love to hear from you. 888-827-5536. You can also visit our website and get that number and a link to the chat room. That's techguylabs.com. The chat room is very, very helpful to me, and also just a fun place to be. It's where the smart kids go. I'm sorry, Homer's bothering me. I started playing. You ever play We Rule or any of those games? Farmville. There's a Simpsons game called Simpsons Tapped Out on the iPhone and the iPad, and just a word of warning: make sure you turn off notifications, because otherwise Homer speaks up at the most inopportune moments. And he says funny things like, push notification. It's embarrassing. That's all I can say. It's one of the few things I don't want to admit that I'm playing this game. 8888 Ask Leo. The Disneyland of chat rooms, says Art Chandra. You can find out more at techguylabs.com. Let's go right back to the phones and our next caller, who is Sharon in Los Angeles on line 5. Hi, Sharon. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So here's our issue. We're trying to find a piece of software that will listen to video like YouTube and transcribe it into text. and we're having a heck of a time. Do you know of anything?
Well, actually, YouTube automatically does that if you turn it on.
Yeah, it doesn't do it very well. Have you ever looked at it when it does it?
Yeah, but so why would anything do it better?
Well,
in other words, that's what you're going to get at best. Google has some of the best voice recognition software out there, and it's listening directly to it, the highest quality audio, and that's what it's doing.
Is there a way to edit it? We haven't figured out a way to edit it, so we could at least correct the errors.
Is this for yourself or? Automated transcription is terrible. Let's just put it that way. In fact, even if you watch television with closed captioning, you can always tell the shows where it's a human and where it's a machine. I have to admit, Google's probably worse than that, but the audio quality on a lot of Google or YouTube videos is not very good. I think it's doing as well as anything would do. So you're right. I mean, you want a human to do this. Now, you can hire humans to do transcription. So that's why I'm asking, why do you want the transcription?
Well, because Google finds it better if that.
So like me so these are for your videos?
Us or our clients.
Clients, yeah. So like my shows, we offer in many cases transcriptions exactly for that reason. Google can't search into video. But if you have a transcription, it'll see all the words in the video.
Exactly.
So this is then a profit-making enterprise, and it's worth probably using a service. Amazon's Mechanical Turk is probably the cheapest, and it does it does it in a very effective way. It uses multiple people for the same little stretch. They only do maybe a sentence at a time, and then compares the different results. And when they've got consensus, that's what it uses. It's very interesting. If you go to mturk.com, that's the Amazon Mechanical Turk, it's actually humans. And they have among other things, they have transcription as available options. So you'll have to send the audio to the Mechanical Turk, which will then parse it out. Probably, I would guess it's mostly workers in the third world and underdeveloped nations who are willing to work for pennies per transcription. And then what happens is you get back a fairly good transcription. Now, the best way to do it, and the way we prefer to do it, is with a human transcriptionist, but that's expensive.
Yeah.
No automated transcription is going to do a very good job. What you're seeing on Google's YouTube is about as good as it's going to get.
And so let me just make sure. So there's no way to edit that automatic transcription, right?
Not that I know of. They don't give it to you in like any plain text form.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I understand why you want that. I think that's a good idea. There are a number of, if you look for podcast transcriptions, there are a lot of people who do this. But if you hire an individual transcriptionist, it's fairly expensive. One of our shows actually does this with a woman who is a court transcriber. She does a very, very good job, but it might be $100 per an hour of transcription, something like that. You should look at Pods in Print. I think it's one of the companies that does this. Podsinprint.com. They do transcription services. These are humans. Podcast transcripts is another one. And then the least expensive way to do it would be to use the Mechanical Turk. I would try with the same video on several different people, see where you get the best result from.
Good deal.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry there's no more affordable way to do that.
Bummer. Well, but at least I've now tried every option I can think of. So thank you so much.
All right. My pleasure. Good to talk to you. Yeah, I think that YouTube is not, what you're seeing on YouTube is almost hysterical. I mean, it's funny. But it is getting better. And remember, Google has a lot of data. They have some of the best scientists in the world working on voice transcription. And they have a lot of data. The voice transcription on Android phones, which uses the same engine, is actually pretty good. The problem is the video quality. The audio on the video is not very good. And people are speaking quickly, and they're speaking colloquially. And mechanical transcriptions just don't do a good job with that, I'm afraid. Let's go to line 1. Neil is on the line from Homeland, California. Hi, Neil. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Well, I was afraid they disconnected me, Leo.
No, we're here. Oh, you heard a big clonk? Yeah, that's the button. That means you're on. Yeah.
You hit the wrong button.
Yeah. No, when we pick you up, You hear big bong. I don't know why, but that's the sound it makes. And I apologize.
Okay, that's all right. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. I wanted to ask you about my daughter, and she lives 100 miles away, and she likes to call us all the time. And so she got us hooked up to the Skype, you know.
Great, that's free.
Yeah, and it's telephone, it's television, telephone, I guess you call it. Anyway, we've got a problem with it. They can see. My wife talks to her all the time. They can see each other on their television set, on the computer rather, not television set, on the computer, we cannot hear my daughter talking on sound, but she can hear us on sound.
Yeah.
So now it's worked out that, and I don't know why.
So she can. Well, I can tell you why. She can hear you, but you can't hear her.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she's got to look at her Skype settings. There's a way to test before you make a Skype call. Now, I always recommend people do this. They have a Skype test call that makes sure that your audio is working okay. And you'd be amazed at how often it doesn't work because you've got a setting wrong either on the computer or on Skype. So what you should be doing is call the number for that. It's actually in the Skype directory, but is Echo 123. So say to your daughter, hey, hon, would you do us a favor? Call Echo 123 first and see if the Skype, I call her the Skype lady, see if the Skype lady can hear you. Because if she can't, well, of course, you're not going to be able to. And the problem lies not on your end, but on her end. Now, if the Skype lady can hear you, or hear her, then the problem does lie on your end. Maybe the speakers aren't set properly on your Skype. You're using it on your television set, huh?
No, not on television.
On a computer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how do I get hold of what Echo 123 is that?
Yeah, have your daughter. It's not you, because she needs to call it, because she's the one who can't be heard. Have her call the Skype setup. It's in the audio settings, and test it, because then she could see. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. This sounds like Tenacious D. I don't know what this is. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Kyle Benham, my esteemed musical director. You can blame him. That's good. I like it. What is this? It's Crazy Train.
Paul Gilbert, technical difficulties.
It's called technical difficulties. Well, it's apt. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you want Kyle's playlist, he makes it available on his Google Plus account after the show. Kyle Benham, or we put it on our show notes at the end of each show at techguylabs.com. Let me just for our last caller. Skype is a great solution, by the way. It's free. Microsoft owns it now, and I expect that they will not only maintain it but make it better over time. You could download it from skype.com. It allows you to make free calls computer to computer, but you can also use Skype on a cell phone, on most mobile devices. You can pay a small additional fee, and this is how Skype makes money, for two different features, Skype in and Skype out. Skype out means you can call any phone from Skype, which is great. It means that Skype becomes your phone system. And Skype in means that you have a phone number that people can call, and your Skype on your computer will pick up. You can even buy external devices that hook up to your internet and a phone line, so it appears to you to be a regular phone. There's just all sorts of great features. I love Skype. We use it all the time. And generally speaking, the audio quality is better, much better than a phone system. You can make it better still by having lots of bandwidth and using a headset microphone, things like that. And then there's some nice features. You get to get video calls as well. But initially, sometimes it takes a little time to figure it out. You have to look at the Skype settings, and you have to, if you're setting it up on your system, and our caller's daughter should probably set this up on his system, or her system rather. You want to check to make sure the audio is okay. And you'll find this in the audio settings. They call it Skype test call. The actual number is Echo 123, and this is what it sounds like when you make that call.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing
Skype
service.
lady.
After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
So now you can talk to her and say, hey, I'm testing the line. I want to see how this sounds. And what she's doing is she's recording what she's getting on her end and will play it back to you. And this will give you some idea of how you sound. Now you can talk to her and say, hey, I'm testing the line. I want to see how this sounds.
So it sounds like I'm
and what
repeating
she's
myself,
doing is
but this is
she's
her
recording
playing
what
it back
she's
to me.
getting on her end. And you can see the quality is excellent. Now, if you, after the second tone, you don't hear anything, that means she heard nothing. So you need to now go in your Skype settings, and Skype has a pretty good setup system. You should be able to, if you go into the audio video section, be able to set it up so that you choose which microphone you're going to use. You should be able to see the microphone bouncing as you're talking to it. You can automatically adjust microphone settings or not. You could say where the audio comes from. You could set the level, and you can even check the video. So this is something both ends should do, obviously. But if somebody's calling you and they're not hearing you, generally it means you've got something going on with your settings. You're not sending them audio. So use that Skype test service to make sure the audio is working okay. If your daughter does that and she hears herself and you still can't hear her, then you have to make sure that in your settings, your audio video settings, that you have her audio going to some speakers or headphones or something. Now, the good news is once you get this set up, you usually don't have to mess with it ever again. And now you've got free calls. You could talk forever. You see each other. It's really great for people with grandkids. You want to see the grandkids. For parents who travel. I wish I'd had this. I used to travel a lot when my kids were little. It would have been great to be able to Skype and see them, put them to bed, read them a book. It's a wonderful, wonderful solution. I really like it. So, Neil, I hope that helps you. She should check her settings first. Then you need to check yours. Next, line 3. We've got Julie on the line from Fresno, California. Hi, Julie. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm well. Welcome.
So I am needing some encryption software, I'm told. In my industry, I'm in insurance. I don't know that I have anything that valuable, but I have 2 office computers and 1 travel laptop. And I'd like to get something of, moderate, encryption capabilities.
Yeah. Many industries have government regulations. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients, for instance, to protect their social security number, their private information, that kind of thing. I don't know if you have government regulations or not. If you do, then you need to find something that satisfies those requirements. For instance, in the health industry, and maybe affect you as well, HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability Act, requires a certain level of encryption on patient records. This may be what's affecting you as well. I don't know.
So we do have some Social Security numbers, and we do have HIPAA that have been signed.
Yeah. So you don't want, and you're traveling around with a laptop with all that stuff on it. If you lose that laptop, you're in deep trouble. So what you probably want is something called, now there's 2 ways to go with this. You can go with full disk encryption, which means that the disk is not usable. The data cannot be read until you log into that. Or you can do, if you don't want to do that, and that's usually the best idea, especially on a laptop you travel around with. If you don't want to do that, you can have an encrypted folder, for instance, that everything you put in there is encrypted and must be logged into. Generally speaking, these solutions allow you to log in at the beginning of your session, continue to use it as if it's unencrypted, and then log out, or when you log out of the computer, it automatically re-encrypts it. Now, are you using Windows?
Yes.
Windows, of course, has built-in encryption. And most Windows machines, laptops included, have built-in full disk encryption. So if you should follow Microsoft's instructions, because they use a certificate for the encryption, and if you lose the certificate, the data is lost. So they'll offer you at the time you encrypt that disk, they'll say, by the way, here is the certificate, make a copy, Very important. It's not unusual. I get calls from people saying, "Hey, I copied my data over to a new version of Windows and I can't read it anymore." I said, "Did you use Microsoft's encryption?" "Yes." "Did you copy the certificates?" "No." You can never read that data again. So that's important. Most hard drives have built-in encryption. Most computers have built-in encryption. So that's one way to go there. But and I'm going to mention another way that I actually prefer because it's an open source, a free open source program. And I like open source for encryption because then we know exactly how it's done and that there's no backdoor for a company or the government, that it's really private. And TrueCrypt is the name of it. It also does full disk encryption or folder encryption. And it's free from TrueCrypt. Let me make sure. I think it's .org, but let me make sure. TrueCrypt.org. Let's try it. Yeah, .org. So there's three ways you can do this. Your computer hardware might have this. Windows has it. And then there's the third way, TrueCrypt.org. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. I don't know if I trust WinZip's encryption, and I don't know if that satisfies HIPAA. In the past, WinZip's encryption has not been good encryption. I'm sure it is now, but I just don't know. It's also inconvenient, and you have to remember to re-zip it, things like that. Hey, the show brought to you today by Stamps.com. Stamps.com means you don't have to go to the post office. Hallelujah! Saved! You don't have to go to the post office to buy postage. You don't have to go to the post office to fill out forms for international mailing or priority mail or express mail. You don't have to go to the post office to mail larger packages. Everything can be done right from your desk with your computer and your printer. No postage meter necessary, no special inks necessary, and there are no hidden fees, no long-term contracts. You don't have to buy anything extra. You've already got what you need. In fact, Stamps.com could save you 80% compared to a postage meter. Plus, you could do so much more. For instance, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, PayPal. You sell stuff through there, do fulfillment through there. It'll take the address, all the information right from the website. You don't have to fill in any forms. Use QuickBooks, same thing. It will use your existing address books. You could send tracking information to recipients with a click of a button. I mean, this is powerful stuff. And discounts you cannot get at the post office. Up to 21% off express mail, up to 15% off priority mail. So you not only save time, you save money on postage. Stamps.com. Now, here's the deal. When you go there, you'll see an $80 value, which is pretty tempting, but I'm going to suggest you click where it says, heard about us on a radio or podcast. Click here. Click that. And then, if you will, use the offer code TECHGUY, Tech Guy, in that promo code field. And look at that, $80 offer? No, $110 offer, including $55 free postage. You get the digital scale for free. You just pay shipping and handling for that. It's $5. And it, kind of to make that up, they give you a $5 supply kit. And, of course, you get a 4-week trial. You get to keep the scale, cancel at any time. You don't have to pay anything if you don't want. But I think you're going to love Stamps.com so much you're going to keep using it. We have 2 accounts now because we're fighting over the scale. Stamps.com, please use the promo code TECHGUY, 2 words, and you could try it and get a $110 offer, including $55 of postage. You're going to like Stamps.com, I promise you. We thank them for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Outside the U.S., I know we have a lot of listeners on the internet. You can use that same number. Just use Skype. We were just talking about it. Skype out. It'll let you call that number for free. Moving along to Tony in Buffalo, New York. He's on line 4, Kyle. Hi, Tony. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi, Lee.
Hey, Tony.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, welcome. What can I do for you?
About a year and a half ago, I called you. I was contemplating getting an Apple TV, and you recommended FireCore, and I just wanted to follow up on it. I love it.
Oh, that's great.
It's one of the greatest things ever. I pre-ordered it at the time. I have a Apple TV 2nd Gen, and I think it cost me $30 for a 2-year subscription to FireCore, and it took a couple months for them to come out with the software. And when they did come out with it, downloaded it, jailbroke the Apple TV, installed the software, and now I get, using Plex, I get any movies or TV shows I have on my Mac out in the living room. I get if I turn on iTunes sharing, I get all my music and anything I've purchased through iTunes out in the living room on the HD TV.
Isn't that nice?
And also, if you download the app for the computer, for the Mac, you can add channels to it. So now I have all the channels out on the TV, like TWiT, Revision 3. It's just been great. I can't thank you more for it.
Well, I'm glad you like it. Let me explain a little bit what's going on here. The Apple TV, and there are two different Apple TVs. There's the old school Apple TV, which looks like a Mac Mini. It kind of is a Mac Mini. And the new school one, which is black and like a hockey puck. It's a lot smaller. They are both hackable. They're computers. They have processors, a small amount of memory. They're not very fast processors. In the silver one, I think they actually have a hard drive in there. And you can, and people have figured out how, just as with an iPhone or an iPad, you can jailbreak it and then put additional software or other software on it. This software, and by the way, all of this software is open source and freely available, but it's kind of a pain to do it bit by bit. So there's a company, firecore.com, that's just bundled up all of this open source software. It's not like they're, I want to be clear about that. It's not that it's something that you have to pay for, but to me it was worth it because they, first of all, they keep it up to date, and they download updates and so forth, and they make it much easier. It's a one-click installation. Pretty safe. I've never had a problem with it. I don't know anybody who's had a problem. But of course, anytime you're jailbreaking something, you can, in theory, have problems. If you pulled the power, for instance, as you were doing the update, it would brick your Apple TV. It's funny because I've recommended this for a long time. I don't actually use it anymore because I have so many different ways to get all of those things on my TV. There are all of these devices. The idea is we have a TV. We'd like to connect it to the internet to give us the capability to do, stuff like Netflix. Netflix is an example. But now most TVs come with internet access built in. I just got a Panasonic Viera, the GT50, that has, not only does it have an Ethernet port, it has Wi-Fi on it. Hook it up to your network, and you can, and it's very much like a Roku box or an Apple TV. The Apple TV has one unique feature, the ability to tie to iTunes. So you can buy or rent movies or TV shows from iTunes. It also has AirPlay, which means if you have an iOS device, you can, say an iPhone or an iPad, you can take what's on the iPad. Now, actually, if you're using Mountain Lion, even on a PC, you could take what's on the screen of the PC and put it on your big screen TV. So that's what the Apple TV does that's unique. But there are now lots of ways to do this. When you hack it with FireCore, you're adding many of the other things that Apple TV doesn't support, like Plex. So you take the existing capabilities of the Apple TV and you add to it. Now, of course, when Apple pushes an update to Apple TV, it's not available to you. So that's the negative of this. You're now kind of in your own world, but the good news is FireCore offers updates and so forth. So, I have a mixed mind on this. It's just like jailbreaking an iPhone. If you want more capability on your Apple TV and you're willing to take the risk and pay a little more, it's great, just as you say. But not everybody should do it because now you can't take Apple updates and so forth. So it's a decision that each person has to make. But I'm glad it's worked well for you, Tony. That's great.
Leo, on a recent episode of Know How, you talked about Plex.
Yeah, Plex is great, isn't it?
Oh, I love it.
So this is also a free open source program. It was actually based on Xbox Media Center, and then they adjusted it and adapted it. Boxy is also based on XBMC. This is a whole host of different programs based on it. But the idea is it lets you play content from anywhere. They've got plugins for internet stations, as you said, for TWiT, my podcast network. They've got the ability to run TV and movies off, and pictures and music too, for that matter, off of your hard drive in your house, on your network, off of your computer. It really gives you a lot of flexibility. But this is for people who are willing to spend some time messing around. If you just want to watch TV, that's another matter.
Well, exactly, and I'm not a big, I'm no expert or anything. I like to play around with stuff a little bit. But what you turned me on to know-how is my Plex, which is a setting in the Plex server that turns it into a swing box.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Now, I have an iPad 2, and I have a iPod Touch. I don't have an iPhone, but once I set that up, after understanding it through what you and I has talked about, now when I go, let's say I go to my sister's house or whatever, and I have a Wi-Fi connection, I can access all my stuff on my iPod Touch or my iPad.
It's pretty amazing. Now, you kind of say, oh, well, I'm not an expert, but, what you've done here is fairly complex for the average person. So I don't want people to go, oh, that's great, and launch into it and then have a mess, a lot of wires, and I don't know what's going on here. But we did do an episode. Right. This is a great show. I love this show that IAS does. It's called Know How. It's part of our podcast network. And Know How episode 4, we talked about, at least you could watch this and get an idea of what would be involved setting up a Plex server. So that's twit.tv/KH, and it was episode 4. These are short episodes, about half an hour. You can even watch it on YouTube at youtube.com/twit. And that would give you some idea, at least, of what's involved. There's people, obviously you're one of them, and as am I, Tony, that love to mess with their electronics and, like to tweak it and get the most out of it. And then there's people who just want to get it home, and they want it to work, and they don't want to be thinking about it. And for those people, I'm not sure FireCore is the right solution. But if you are interested in hacking your Apple TV, I love it. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Tony. Thank you. I'm glad it worked out well for you. It's really interesting now because I can watch Netflix on almost everything. I'm surprised I don't have Netflix on the refrigerator and toaster. TVs come with it. Blu-ray players come with it. If you get Google TV or a Roku box or an Apple TV, that comes with it. And, I would say Roku is right now the most capable unhacked device. But if you're willing to spend some energy setting up a Plex server, boy, the sky's the limit. You might even disconnect your cable company. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. When you're running a small business, your hours aren't the traditional 9 to 5. You work around the clock. So the limited hours of the post office can be very frustrating. That's why you need Stamps.com. See, because with Stamps.com, you get postage when you need it, on demand, right from your desk, 24/7. With Stamps.com, you can buy and print official U.S. postage with just your own computer and your own printer. You get everything from stamps to shipping labels the instant you need it. Then you just hand the mail to the mailman. You don't even need an expensive postage meter anymore. Plus, you'll never have to go to the post office. The battery life on the iPhone 5 is about the same as the old iPhone. You really need a Mophie case. Boy, I tell you, if you're an eBay or Amazon seller, PayPal or I have to say, the iPhone 5, as I increasingly use it, and Lisa has had the same experience, is just disappointing. It's too small still. They didn't add enough screen size, in my opinion. It is not a worthwhile upgrade. It is very fragile. These dings are just appalling. And, of course, you now have to buy everything, new cabling, new cases, the whole thing. So I more and more, I really try to give it a chance. And Apple is just in the maps, by the way. Lacking, for instance, we're wandering around Denver, and I want to use a GAT. No, sorry, you need Google Maps for that. So thank goodness I had my Android phone with me. The Android experience now, just on Maps alone, is so far superior that, I just think what Apple has done is they've hobbled the phone. I use the iPhone 5 since it came out. What is that, 3 or 4 weeks? But I'm happy now that I'm gone back to Android using the Note 2. No, of course, but you need a case because the thing dings up like a mother. I mean, this thing it's got dings all the way around the edge. This beveling is very soft, very soft. So you need a case, and there's a couple of cases. Lisa has the ballistic. No, it's the OtterBox. They came out with that in time. You do not have to use the pen. I rarely use the pen. The fact that the pen's there, though, is nice, but you don't need it in any way. I think the Galaxy S3 is probably, for most people, the best choice out there. If you want a big phone, the Note's great. And they've added new features to Note, and Note is Jelly Bean, which is nice. The Aperions are great. They look gorgeous. They sound fantastic. I am very happy with the Aperions. I bought an Aperion speaker system. I got the low end, the Intimus 4. Did not spend. Well, they weren't that cheap, but I am very, very happy with them. They sound beautiful. I got the middle range subwoofer. I didn't get the lowest end subwoofer. So I got the Intimus, and I got the Cherrywood, which looks great. And then, so I got the Intimus 4T Tower in Cherry, and I got the center channel 4C. I haven't tried the surrounds yet. I haven't set them up yet, but I'm very happy with the sound. And then I bought a Bravos sub. The sub's great, so highly recommend these Aperions. They're great. I don't know how they compare to the Emotivas. They both sound fantastic. It's hard to tell. My eyes are not. My ears rather are not that good. I'm old.
Okay, ESAT is your live read.
Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion. I mentioned we got lots of new stuff coming out next week. New Apple stuff, new Android stuff, new Windows, Microsoft stuff. Wow. Oh, and new Samsung phones will be announced, too. I suspect they'll announce availability of the Galaxy Note 2 in the U.S. This is their ginormous phablet. It's a phone. It's a tablet. No, it's a phone. It's a 5.5-inch screen. If you like go look at the Galaxy S3. It's exactly like a Galaxy S3, but with a bigger screen. And a stylus. I don't use a stylus that much, but the stylus is nice. I have to say, I tried. I really did. I tried to like the iPhone 5. I was an iPhone fan. I want to be very clear. From 2007, when it came out, it was the best. There was no better phone for at least 3 years, maybe 4. iPhone owned the market. But Apple has been slow to make updates. They only come out with a new one every year, and they're evolutionary, not revolutionary updates. They really, and I understand that's Apple's way of doing things. I respect that. It's a beautiful phone. It's like a fine Swiss watch, and it's about as delicate. I've already dinged mine up something awful, something terrible. I do think, remember, I'm using a giant screen. I'm using the Galaxy Note 2, 5.5-inch screen. But I do think Apple did not go far enough in increasing screen size. It's an odd shape, and it is not that big. Still has a beautiful display, and if you want a small screen, this is a good choice. 4 inches does not quite describe it. Yes, it is a 4-inch screen, but that's because it's a wide aspect ratio. It's still fairly narrow. And I find it extremely difficult to type on. The on-screen keyboard is the same size as it's always been on the iPhone since 2007. And it's very difficult to type on for me with my big fat fingers. I think for a couple of reasons, I'm now no longer recommending the iPhone 5. it is fragile. You don't want to drop this thing. And since it's brand new, there aren't many case choices. You will be wanting to put it in a case, which kind of eliminates the advantage it has in design. Once it's in a case, it's like any other clunky plastic phone. The loss of Google Maps is huge. I was in Denver the last couple of days. I wanted to use Zagat. Not available. It's on Google Maps. You have to use the browser on the iPhone to do it, and that's not nearly as good an experience as it is on the Android side, where you have a standalone app. It just works so much better. That's a big loss to iOS 6. And this new connector means that I have literally spent over $200 on new cables and connectors because I need a cable at home, at work, in the car, so I can charge this thing. Battery life is, as it has been, less than a day. So I've got to charge it everywhere I go. And I need adapters for my 30-pin docks. So I ended up spending over $200 on new cables and adapters, in addition to the phone, because they've changed the connector. I'm content now that all the new phones, except for Apple's phones, will be using these USB, these micro USB connectors. I don't have to buy new cables, new docks, or anything. Everything's going to use the same connector from now on. So, fragile, new connector, costs money, incompatible. It's sad. I go to hotels, and of course, every hotel now has a clock radio that docks an iPhone with a 30-pin connector. They're all obsolete all of a sudden. And I have to think hotels will never again buy an Apple-compatible connector clock. Why should they? That's a huge expense. And the lack of maps. That's a huge loss. Apple Maps is okay, but not having Zagat, not having many of the features of Google Maps, not having Street View is a real loss. So my recommendation is still to try every phone. Pick your carrier first: Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Sprint's now owned by a Japanese company, but that's good news. I think that means Sprint will be around for some time and will start investing in upgrading its LTE network and so forth. So I think choose your carrier, then look at the phones, and I would certainly look at a Galaxy S3. In my opinion, the best phone on the market today. Take a look at the iPhone 5, but I do not recommend it at this point. It's disappointing. It's just not the best phone on the market by a long shot. All right, let's go to line 2 now. Dave's in Montana. Hi, Dave. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Well, no, you're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Oh, no problem. Long-time listener. I have a question. I'm a postage stamp collector, so I collect stamps.
You're a philatelist.
That's it, a philatelist. Most people don't know what that is, but you're...
I know what it is.
You know everything. Hey, I'm looking... I have thousands of entries in just a handwritten notebook. So what I'm looking to do now is get a spreadsheet that's voice recognition, and I'm open to a Mac or a PC, whether I get an iPad, but it'll be just text only, but alphabetical. Is there something out there?
Wouldn't that be nice? You just dictate it.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Hundreds of hours.
I think a spreadsheet may not be the best solution for you. There are certainly philatelic databases you could use. What you would want, I would think, is a picture of the stamp as well as a description of the stamp, its value, when you acquired it, where it is, which of your albums it's in, that kind of thing, right? A kind of a specialized database.
Well, it's not really, because it's a Cinderella stamp, so there's no catalog number, there's no set book for them. So all I'm going to do is alphabetically put them. There's hundreds and hundreds of entries.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, there's no spreadsheet software that has built-in voice dictation, but both Windows and Apple have voice dictation capabilities. So that now, unfortunately, what it means is you would have to. Let me think. Now, you might be able to say Cinderella 1932 return, Cinderella 1934 return, and it might take you from cell to cell. Otherwise, you're going to have to click in a cell, then dictate, click in a cell, then dictate.
What I'm basically looking for, let's say I go to the letter A, I might have 200 entries in my handwritten notebook.
Oh, you want to search via dictation.
Right, so I want to put in every entry I have and then go to B, C, D. So when I go to a stamp show, I can just click on a letter and see if I have it to avoid duplication.
Got it. Well, there is third-party voice recognition called Drag and Dictate. It's very good. It's probably better than the built-in stuff. Are you using Windows?
I have Windows now, but I was thinking about buying a Mac.
Either Mountain Lion and Windows both have dictation. I think probably I wouldn't buy the Mac just to do this, but if you're inclined to buy a Mac, you certainly will be able to do that. Chat room, do you have any suggestions? There certainly are stamp collection databases, but I'm going to answer the direct question, which is what do we do about voice dictation? I guess if you had Drag and Dictate, it certainly will interface to Microsoft Excel or some similar spreadsheet, and it should be able to do what you just described. Yeah.
Right. The only downside for me is, like you said, most of them you can collect U.S. stamps, and they start from number 1 and go to number 1,000. They have pictures, and it's...
Yeah. It's an interesting challenge. Keep listening. I'm sure some philatelist will call and give us an answer. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. My friend David Pogue uses Dragon to dictate his indexes on his books.
At the Tech Guy Labs, we do everything in the class.
He doesn't dictate the books, but it's good. It's good for indexes. Yeah, Bento's was fantastic, and the Mountain Lion dictation is great. You press a key in it, and I think the dictation is it's Siri basically. So I think it works pretty well. Hey, let me mention before we go much farther, the folks at Citrix wanted me to tell you a little bit about GoToMeeting, and I think this is an opportune moment. Have you used GoToMeeting? Do you know what GoToMeeting is? GoToMeeting.com. I'm sure you're familiar with it as a screen sharing software. That's for years we've been talking about that. It's a way that you can have a meeting, you can set up a meeting very easily. You click a link. You send an email link. Your client clicks a link. The software, by the way, updates itself each time you have a meeting, so you always have the latest, most secure version. It's easy to set up. It includes a free telephone, a voice bridge for conferencing, as well as you could use VoIP for conferencing. And now they've added the video, and that, I think, is a huge step forward. This is one of the things I love about Citrix. They add capabilities without increasing the price. You're constantly getting the new stuff. So it's $49 a month for as many meetings as you want, as long as you want. And if you're using the new HD Faces, you get video conferencing included in that, which is fantastic. It works on a Mac or a PC. You can start a meeting from either. You can attend meetings on iPhones and iPads. It will even use the camera on the iPad to join a video call. So seeing the video makes a huge difference when you're in a meeting. And it looks, by the way, I'm showing video on the screen if you're watching the video. It looks just like that. So you're seeing the screen that's being shared by the conference organizer. Or he could give you control, too. You can show them. It's good for training that way. You could say, hey, here's how it looks. Now you do it. But then you can also see them. And I think that's really great for building trust, for getting to know somebody. It's so easy to use. It's so powerful. I want you to try GoToMeeting right now. Visit GoToMeeting.com. 30 days free when you click the Try It Free button and use the promo code TECH, T-E-C-H. GoToMeeting.com. See that orange Try It Free button? Click that and use the promo code TECH. If you're in business and you're not using GoToMeeting, or maybe you've been, you got tricked into buying one of them big video conference setups and stuff, this is so much more affordable. And so much easier to use. I really love it. GoToMeeting. We use it literally every week here in our business. GoToMeeting.com. Use the offer code TECH.
Channel 7.
I got my Sky Mall helicopters. But I guess instead of ordering one, I ordered 10 because they sent me 10 of them. $300 worth of helicopters. Thank God they didn't cost $300 each. And then whoever sent me a box of Goo Goo clusters, 72 Goo Goo clusters. Holy cow. That's a lot of Goo Goo clusters. Somebody's trying to kill me.
This is Premier Channel 7. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll begin at 6
Yeah, believe me, if I could give you Goo Goo clusters, I would. This is why I got
You're
the business.
tuned to Premier Channel
Google
7.
clusters.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, will begin at 6 minutes past
Did I
the
hit
hour.
you?
From Premier Radio Network.
Sorry. Oh, I can give them out for trick or treat. Oh, I'd be the most popular guy. I am. I'm bringing them home, and these will be for trick or treat. Very good. Thank you. Because I'm going to have trick or treaters. What are Google clusters? Well, I'm glad you asked.
You're tuned to Premier Channel 7. Leo Laporte,
These
the
are
tech
Google
guy,
clusters.
will begin at 6 minutes.
The
past
original,
the hour.
made with
From
real
Premier
milk
Radio
chocolate.
Network.
Wait, let's just open one up and see. Looks like caramel, marshmallow, chocolate, and nuts. That's a Google cluster. I don't think I'll be... I wouldn't be talking for an hour. That's just cruel.
Trick or treat.
Send me 72 Google clusters and say, okay, now try to do a radio show.
Hey, Leo.
Yeah.
We're refreshing. She just sent you this hour. Load it up.
Thank you.
And start with Steve on line 4.
Got it.
Just at the bottom. Thank you.
Well, a good day to you, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks to the Standard Candy Company. Wow! I don't know what I did to deserve this, but they just sent me a case of Goo clusters. You ever had a Goo cluster? Standard Candy Company's out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I think this is big in the Southeast, the Goo cluster. It looks like caramel, marshmallow, peanuts, chocolate. Somebody in the chat room said it's a yummy bomb. Problem is, if I started eating these, I wouldn't be able to do a radio show. I'd be talking like this. So I'll save those for later. I'll hand those out for trick or treat if you want to come to my house. Oh, there's going to be some happy kids. You gave me a Google cluster. Actually, here in Northern California, I don't think they know what they got there. Loquacious in our chat room says, I can help you with those, Leo. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. Back to the phones we go. Steve in Illinois on line 5. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, you were talking about phones a minute ago. I have a Galaxy S2, and I was going to get the S3, but I keep getting told that the Note 2 is going to be available soon. In fact, you just said you had one, didn't you?
I do have one, and the way I got it was I bought an unlocked one from a company called Expansys. You can also get them from Amazon Wireless. It's essentially the European version of it, and you'll have to use it on AT&T because you have to put an AT&T SIM in there. You could use it on T-Mobile, but you'd only get Edge. So if you wanted to use this...
I have T-Mobile.
Well, it would work on T-Mobile. I don't know if it works with the 3G on T-Mobile, though.
Well,
my thought is that they're going to announce it this week. There is a Samsung event coming up this week. So this is a crazy week. We've got Tuesday, there's an Apple announcement. Friday, the Windows 8 phone Windows 8 operating system comes out. A week from Monday, Windows Phone comes out. There's a Google announcement on the 29th, a week from Monday. And I think that there's also a Samsung announcement on the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. So I would expect that's when they'll announce the Note 2. And unlike the Note 1, which was only available in the U.S. on AT&T, it's my understanding that the Note 2 will be available on everybody. That's good. That's good news. And this is a great phone. I love it. Now, you have to like big phones. I mean, it's almost a tablet.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I want. I mean, you watch movies on it, read books on it. It would seem, you see it better.
Now, I have to say, first of all, I love the Galaxy S3. That was a good choice, the Galaxy S3. And I think you're probably very happy with, S2, I should say. I think you're probably very happy with it. It's still one of the greatest phones of all time. The S3 improves on it with a bigger and higher res screen. And the Note 2, interestingly enough, is the same resolution as a Galaxy S3. What is it now? Is it 1280 by 720? The original Note was 1280 by 800. So that's high def. It's you can watch a high def movie on it for sure. But it's interesting because it's a little bit lower dots per inch than the original Note. Now, the original Note was a huge seller. I would say there are a couple of reasons you might prefer this over a Galaxy S3. It's very much like an S3. In fact, the S3 is also 1280 by 720. It's just a slightly smaller screen. It's a 4.8-inch screen. A couple of things about the Note that people like. One is it has a stylus built in. It fits in very nicely flush into the case. So if you don't use it, you're not going to care. But if you're an artist or somebody who likes to take handwritten notes, that's fantastic. I mean, it really does a great job. It is a bigger screen, so somebody like me with sausage fingers or a big guy, it's easier to type on, it's easier to use. Somebody like me also was over 40, it's easier to see and read. I feel very comfortable reading. And it's still not so big that you can't put it in a shirt pocket. You know, it's a decent size. The other thing that's great about it, that I really like about it, it's got a giant battery. Big phone, big battery. It's a 3,100 milliamp hour battery, and that means you're going to get at least a day, maybe two, between charges. That is a very big selling point for me. Now, the other reason I like the Galaxy S2, S3, and now the Galaxy Note 2 is because you can open the back and put a new battery in. So I almost always will buy a couple of batteries when I buy these phones and keep one charged and have it in my pocket if I need it. So when I'm out and about, you know, at a conference, a trade show, and I'm not able to get to a charger for more than 16 hours, it's nice to have that second battery in there. I think you should look at the S3 as well. Same resolution, just a slightly smaller screen. It's a little disappointing because Samsung still hasn't pushed Jelly Bean, the latest version of Android, out for the Galaxy S3. The Note will come with Jelly Bean, the latest version, which I like. Other reasons you might like the Note 2, it's fast. Got a quad-core 1.6 gigahertz processor. It's fastest phone out there. Maybe the iPhone 5 is slightly faster. It's hard to tell. Instead of a half gig of RAM as the iPhone 5 has, or maybe it has a gig, this has a 2 gigs of RAM, and I think that makes a big difference in speed as well. I think Samsung is doing really nice phones, and there's no question that they're innovating at this point. These are not iPhone clones, but there's no way you'd mistake this for an iPhone. In fact, the iPhone 5 is smaller than the screen on a Galaxy Note. It fits into the screen on the Galaxy Note. So there's no mistaking one for the other at this point. These are innovative phones. It's great. We now have a choice. It's really great if you're on T-Mobile where you don't have an iPhone 5 as a choice, that you at least have some good Android phones to choose from. I'm excited. You know, I tried the Droid on Verizon, the Razr M. That's a very nice phone. They're selling it for $50. It's affordable. It has an edge-to-edge screen. It's a very nice OLED screen and battery life of 3 days. Even better battery life. We're getting some big improvements here. That's one of the reasons I'm not recommending the iPhone 5 anymore. To me, it just doesn't have enough. It's not offering enough for its premium price. It's a shame. But Apple's just not keeping up. Line 4, Don in Cypress, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hi, Don.
I have a question on Windows 7 and Microsoft Outlook 2007.
Okay.
I have everything set up in the account settings for different email addresses that I use. And normally it goes out there to my ISP and downloads the email to Outlook. Everything's fine. But every once in a while it comes up with a screen, enter network password, and sits there until I physically come back to the computer and click OK. I've gone out to the Microsoft website, and they have something out there, saving password setting does not retain in Outlook.
Right.
And I have gone through the different steps that they say here, and I cannot seem to correct the problem.
I had this problem. It used to drive me crazy. I actually stopped using Outlook. It used to drive me crazy. Okay. So what did they suggest? A registry fix?
A registry fix.
Yeah.
deleting what you have in your account settings and redoing them again. And I have done all of that, and I still have the problem.
Isn't that frustrating?
And some of the information that I get, some of the emails, I have transferred to a Google Mail that I can get on my phone. Well, when it stopped, I can't get anything.
I'm looking at, Locker Gnome, which is a great help site. I'm looking at a help there. It just seems like this is a mess out there. I will put in the show notes, techguylabs.com, a couple of alternative solutions for you. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Start using Outlook.com. Evolution is great. I love evolution. If you're a sysadmin or you're in IT, you know the classic juggling act. How do
Has
you keep
anybody
your
tried this?
systems
This is
running
what's on Locker
reliably
Gnome.
on sometimes ancient hardware, and delete the protect folder in the app data roaming Microsoft? That's interesting. No, he didn't say his phone. He said his desktop, Windows 7. It is a POP server. I've had this problem for a long time with Outlook. It's one of the reasons I really gave up on Outlook. And by the way, if you Google this is everybody's got this problem. It's universal. What are you basing your opinion on? Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Somebody in the chat room said,
Well, what are you basing your opinion on when you say the iPhone is not anywhere near close to the best phone out there?
using it would be what I'm basing my opinion on. I think I gave you 5 good reasons why the iPhone's not even close to the best phone out there anymore. But it's absolutely, I would agree, it is a personal choice. You should get the phone that you like the best. And the beauty is we got the choice. I want to see the choice. We did not have the choice. In 2007, the iPhone was so much better. So much better than anything else out there. There really wasn't a choice. And for a few years, you know, AT&T was your only choice. Because, you know, the iPhone was the best smartphone. That is no longer the case by a long shot. There's great choices out there. Even the new Windows Phone 8, I think, will be a very good choice. I like what they've done with that. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you've got a question, a comment, a suggestion, I'd love to hear from you. Let's see here. I did have a note for Don in Cyprus who was having trouble with Outlook. He'd keep getting the annoying prompt, enter your password. I used to get that all the time from Outlook. And I did a little searching. There is an article on Locker Gnome that has another fix. There's the Microsoft fix, which is a registry fix. But apparently there's a hidden folder. Now, this, Don, is for slightly advanced, but certainly worth a try. There's a hidden folder. Search for app data /roaming. App data /roaming. Inside that folder, there'll be a hidden folder called Protect. You'll have to make hidden folders visible, at least temporarily. And then it's safe to delete that folder. Outlook will rebuild it in time. And apparently, it sounds like that's where that hidden spot is where Outlook is storing the email password. And it's not unusual for operating systems to lock a file that needs to be updated or changed or make it unreadable. And so I suspect that in some way that this fix works for people whose Protect folder got corrupted. I'll put a link in the show notes. I'll also put it in the chat room right now so that our show notes folks, the great James DeRuvo, can put that in the show notes at techguylabs.com. I'll put a link to that article. Somebody else is pointing out, and I think this is true too, that the Outlook.pst file can get so big that you can no longer get email, and that could also be an issue. That was another reason I really didn't like Outlook, was it sticks everything in one giant file. And if it gets bigger than 2 gigabytes, you're going to have problems. So you might want to compress your file or make a copy of it anyway before you do that, but compress that file. I think it is a pretty terrible email program. Even Microsoft Live Mail is better. But I understand. Outlook does more. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's see who's next here. Jess in Newport, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very fine. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Love your show.
Thank you.
I remember when you got your ham radio license, and I just got mine, and I'm having a ball with it.
Isn't it fun? Now, I haven't had much chance to use it, but I just think it's really great. I really.
Oh, I've talked all over to New Zealand. I'm having a ball.
Isn't that
anyway?
Neat? Well, good. Welcome to the hobby.
WordPress.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a way to have my users email their comments to the blog. Now, there's a way that you can email post, but when it's a post, it doesn't continue the conversation.
Right.
So is there a way for users to email a comment?
Email a comment to the blog. Now, that's news to me. I don't... I don't know if that's possible. You can email a post because you own the blog. And so, you, as you know, with WordPress, you set up a special address that's not publicly known, and that's how you email. But emailing comments would be a lot harder to do because you'd have to give commenters access in some interesting way to WordPress. Does anybody have any suggestions in the chat room for that one? That one is not... I don't believe that's something that's supported on WordPress. And I could see a number of reasons, security reasons and so forth, why they wouldn't do that. So my guess is it's just not something you can do. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. But keep listening. Maybe the chat room will say,
Oh, yes, Leo. It's a very simple way to do that. You need to turn on the frabbits, and then everything will be just fine.
Thanks, Jess. Appreciate the call. Austin in Los Angeles. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Austin.
Hey, Leo. I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth waiting for this new BlackBerry 10?
No. Are you a dyed-in-the-wool, devoted BlackBerry owner?
I still have the BlackBerry, and I am fighting between waiting for the 10 or just getting the Galaxy S3.
In my mind, there's some question about whether RIM will be around even to produce these BlackBerry 10 phones. They're trying desperately to stay alive, but business is not good for BlackBerry right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the only way I would say yes is if you think the sun rises and sets over on BlackBerry, if you think it is just the best darn thing since sliced bread, if there is, in your mind, there's nothing that could even come close, then I guess it would be worth waiting for, and you'd have to cross your fingers that RIM survives to put it out. But if you're not that kind of devotee to BlackBerry, and by the way, I used to be. I have had every BlackBerry device right through the curve and loved it. But I gave up on BlackBerry when the iPhone came out. And frankly, I just think everybody has by now. RIM is going down. And BlackBerry 10, it won't be out till next year. You're really waiting for a pig in a poke. I think you'd be very happy if you take a look at the range of apps, the capabilities of the Samsung Galaxy S3. I think you'd be very happy. Now, do you need a physical keyboard? Is that why you're a BlackBerry fan?
You know what? I like the physical keyboard, but at the same time, everything is going against that nowadays, so it's going to be to the point where that's going to be unavoidable regardless.
There are some good keyboard Android phones out there still. There's some very nice ones, but I think you should try. A lot of people don't like the idea of an on-screen keyboard until they use it for a little while, and they realize, oh, this is fine.
I mean, I swipe my laptop sometimes thinking it's going to change something.
I do too. I'm always touching that screen. When's that screen? No, it's true. You start to get used to the capabilities of these mobile devices. I think an on-screen keyboard's fine. The Galaxy S3 is an amazing phone.
All right, well, there you have it, sir. I appreciate your time. Your show is fantastic,
Thanks.
And I listen every week, so thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, I just can't tell somebody to wait for the BlackBerry 10. That's... who knows, you know? And even if they are able to get it out, and the company somehow makes a miraculous turnaround, is it going to be so great that you go, oh wow, I really wish I'd waited? No. Lauren in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lauren.
Hey, Leo. So I've been planning on buying one or two of the i5s. Of course, now with today's conversation,
You're rethinking that? Hey, hang on, because I'm going to come back to you. I have to take a break for the bottom of the hour. I wasn't paying attention to the clock. Please, you're next when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You know, one of the things that convinced me on the iPhone 5 was watching Lisa try to, suffer with it. Her battery died, at like 5 in the afternoon. She was desperately trying to find, we're looking for a restaurant to go to. Zagat doesn't work. She doesn't have Google Maps. It's just. And she says, I've had it. She's bringing it back to Verizon. And I have to say, I'm sitting here just happy as a clam with Android. So I think Apple, and by the way, the other pain point for her is all new connectors. Now she's gonna have to do it anyway, but we have a lot of, micro USB is not everybody has micro USB line around. No, my job is to tell you what I think is the best phone. And I think that there is no question in my mind, for the reasons I just laid out, that the iPhone 5 is not anywhere close to the best phone. You should certainly try it. If you like a tiny screen, go for it. If you can live with the fact that it's not a removable battery and that you have to have a case, and the kind of egregious, I'm sure Google Maps will come out eventually for it, so maybe that'll get better. But right now, that's a totally inadequate solution. The Apple Maps. I think anybody who uses Android for a while, it doesn't say that iOS 6 is more polished. It's actually much more antiquated. I think. Yeah, you can use a Mophie juice pack. But then you have a nice big phone. That's what I use. Look, when I use an iPhone, I had to have a Mophie. I decided I preferred to have a slim, small phone and to carry an extra battery than do that. Apple Maps is fine if you like, if you don't miss Street View or Zagat or the other features of Google Maps. I think Google Maps is a much better mapping app. But if you like Apple Maps, more power to you. I'm just telling you what I think. Yeah, I must be holding it wrong. That's why it doesn't last all day for me. Something wrong with me because my iPhone 5 battery won't last all day and yours will. No, there's several of them. No, Update All is still there. It's still there. iOS 6 has Update All. In fact, it's much easier to do updates now. You don't have to sign in. No, it is not as good a... All right. I'm glad you're happy with the battery. Oh, Speed Racer, Apple does track you all over the place. You didn't see the change in the tracking rules on Apple? You have to actually go in and change that setting. And it's not even clear what that stops. In fact, Apple does track you all over the place. They all do, though. Verizon now does. AT&T does. I'll show you the link to Apple tracking you. It's called IFA.
DSL Extreme billboard here, Leo.
You need to chill with the iPhone talk. I'm so annoyed. I think you're better than me just because I'm holding a Droid. You just dropped $1,000 at the Apple store and bought a thinner version of the iPhone 4. These
cannot miss those Samsung ads, can you? Boy, they are trying to jump hard on the iPhone apps problems, the iPhone 5 problems. I think Samsung senses blood in the water. And you cannot, you cannot watch a sporting event. You can't watch TV without seeing kind of fairly negative ads from Samsung. The next big thing is already here, those Galaxy S3 ads. And they're selling them. They're selling them like hotcakes. 8888, ask Leo. I'm just happy there's choice. That's really the bottom line, the fact that we have a choice. 8888, ask Leo. Let's continue on with our call. I apologize for having to abruptly put you on hold, Lauren, but you're back.
Yeah, it's the ads are starting to sound like today's politics.
It is exactly. It's exact. They're attack ads. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so getting back to my question, I've been trying to order the iPhone 5. I've tried the Apple Store and the AT&T store online, and it's occurred to me that in California, when you're buying these phones, even if they're at the reduced prices, even the ones that cost $0, you're paying taxes on the full retail price of the phone. And I think if I read the small print properly, that's only the case in California and Rhode Island.
That's interesting. I did not notice that. I should have paid more attention. I did buy my phone in California. I would guess the reason for that, obviously Rhode Island and California have laws that say you have to pay sales tax on the value of the item, not what you're paying. These are subsidized prices. So, in effect, you are paying the full price. They're just amortizing the additional cost out across a 2-year contract. And I think that's why they can get away with early termination fees. You cannot quit Verizon or AT&T or Sprint without paying a fee. And that fee effectively covers the remainder of the cost of the phone.
But if I were to buy the same exact phone in New York, I would not. I'd be paying the tax on just the $199.
The laws are different.
Yeah. So I just was wondering if you know any way around that, being a California resident.
I used to know a way until the 15th. You could buy it on Amazon and Amazon Wireless and pay no sales tax. But as of just a week or two ago, Amazon started collecting sales tax in California, and so you're out of luck. You're supposed to pay the sales tax even if they don't collect it. But, of course, nobody does. People cleverly forget or miss the line in your California income tax where it says, oh, and by the way, did you buy anything and they didn't collect sales tax, you owe us some sales tax. I would guess that I hadn't looked into this, and I will look into it. I would guess that the California legislature, like the Rhode Island state legislature, said, well, you're paying the full price. It's just it's subsidized. It's added to the cost of your contract over time, and so we're going to tax you on the sales price. I don't know of a way around it. Not anymore, anyway. That's interesting. I did buy my phone from overseas. I don't know if I paid a value-added tax. It's far worse in the UK than the sales tax here in the United States. 8888, ask Leo. Rick is in Long Beach, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Leo. I called you last year when I had a catastrophe hard drive crash and lost my my desktop computer last year, my Dell XPS Windows 95.
Oh,
that I lost
wow.
Last year. So I don't know if you remember that conversation, and I did everything. I backed up with the hard drive that I lost. Remember I told you I had a hard drive that went overboard, and I had a second backup in my office I forgot about. And I ended up it was great. I forgot I did
hallelujah.
the second. Yeah.
It's like finding buried treasure.
You better believe it. It was unbelievable. And I was so ecstatic. But one thing that I never did, so this has been about a year, I got a Dell Duo laptop. It's my first, foray into a laptop. It's great. The screen flips around. It's like a little mini laptop, and it's kind of small, and it's pretty good. And one thing that I never did is I have iTunes. Now, realize I'm kind of a 3x5 card man. You know, I'm not really a
If you're still
gadget
using
guy.
Windows 5, you like antiques. The 95.
Well, yeah. Well, my new laptop has a Windows 7, and now they're coming out with 8, which is very discouraging.
No,
but I'm
stay
just
with 7. Don't, please. Do yourself a favor.
Ah.
7's great. 7's the best version of Windows Microsoft ever made. And it ain't going to
Well,
be
I'm
an
gonna stay
antique
with
for some years to come. So I'd stay with Windows 7.
Excellent. It's my learning curve's a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I'm finally learning how to use it. Well, one thing that I never did, I had an iPod, and I got the Apple iPod music version, and I have books on tape, and I have it strategically, inputted. I got it when it very first came out, the 160 gig. I got about 50 gigs worth of stuff on it. Took me a couple years to integrate to it, and for the last year, I haven't done anything with it because on my new laptop, I put iTunes in.
Yeah.
And iTunes is a fresh new copy. And when I plug in my iPod, what the computer wants, what Apple wants to do, is it wants to sync my very full iPod to my very empty iTunes. So I ended up getting something. Someone told me about the sync software called Media Street or something. I went online and I found this software called Media Widget and Media Wizard, and I ordered it. And what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to sync your iPod into your iTunes. The only problem is every time I do it, it starts to sync. It looks like it's working, and then all of a sudden my iTunes comes up and tries to. It's a one click, and it's going to sync my full iTunes into my empty computer. Is there anything that I can do to get my iTunes, my very full iTunes, my very full iPod into my computer?
So the problem is that what's happening, iTunes is saying, hey, I'm going to erase this iPod and sync it. This is a very primitive, stupid form of copy protection that Apple did not take out, even though they no longer have copy protection on your iTunes songs. The music industry probably demanded this. Otherwise, in the music industry's mind, because all of us listeners are thieves, that 160 gig iPod would be the best piracy device ever. Music industries even said iPods are full. 90% of the stuff on iPods is pirated music. These things are piracy tools of the devil. And so what they don't want you to do is fill it up with 160 gigs of music, then go over to your friend's house and say, here, have it. And he copies everything off the iPod. So they don't give you that capability of copying, syncing from an iPod to a desktop. It's one way, from a desktop to an iPod. Fortunately, they didn't really, I think Apple didn't want to. They didn't, and they figured, these music industry people will never know. They didn't make it too hard to rip music from your iPod. There are lots of really good programs for Windows, SharePods, Snooty, that will take what's on the iPod and copy it to your computer, to iTunes. And from then on, once you get it all copied over, you can then associate that iPod with that desktop. When it says, you want me to erase and sync, you can safely say yes, because everything's on your desktop. And from then on, this won't happen again. I'm not sure what our chat room recommends. I don't use Windows and iTunes. I don't like the combination. But I think SharePod is free, and I think people like it. GetSharePod.com. GetSharePod.com. And you plug in your iPod, you run the software, it'll say, I see you have music on your iPod, let me copy it over for you. And there you go. Just don't tell the music industry. They think we're pirates. Coming up, the Giz Wiz, Dick DeBartolo. Stay here.
I know he bought something, but I have no idea what it was, and I can't tell. So I'm just going to... I don't know. I bought something, a Windows Media widget. I don't know what it was he was talking about.
I believe you need
What
to
was
be
it,
able
Media
to meet
Widget?
your team regularly. Whenever you need to, wherever you are. You got to it was plans, Media you gotta Widget. share ideas, you got
You
to bring
bought
to
it,
life
unfortunately.
communications, everything.
$25.
But
Ay,
clients and
ay,
colleagues work in different offices. They're always on the go, so it's
I haven't
so hard
used
to meet
Media
face to
Widget. Have you
face
used Media
unless you
Widget?
do what I do and use GoToMeeting with HD faces.
Oh, I use Media
Powerfully
Widget.
simple way to meet and Hey, Krusty loves you. Are you excited about the new we don't know anything about it, do we? The iPad Mini, but maybe you're thinking I would like to. I have an iPad 1 or 2, or maybe an iPad 3, and I'd like to maybe I would like to buy the new iPad. Well, I'm going to show you how you can pay for it with your old iPad and Gazelle. You know about Gazelle? Gazelle, Gazelle.com. It's a marketplace for your used iPhone, cell phone, iPad, iPod, MacBook, Mac screen, Mac Mini. If you've got an old BlackBerry RIM you want to unload, or an HTC, LG, Motorola, Nokia, or Samsung phone. If you've got, let's say I got an iPad 2, second generation. It's AT&T, 32 gigs, $300. It's worth $300. Now, here's the beauty part. Sure, we don't know yet what that iPad Mini is going to offer. But if you get the offer now, it's good for 30 days. You can wait till your new iPad arrives, transfer your data over, and then throw your old iPad in the box and get $300 from Gazelle. How about that? Get the quote now, and it's good for 30 days. Gazelle.com, Gazelle.com. They'll even buy broken iPhones for cash. And they pay the shipping on anything worth more than $1. They've paid out almost $50 million, over 300,000 customers, free shipping, fast processing, and you can get a check, you can get a PayPal credit, or, and this is my recommendation, pro tip, get that Amazon gift card for an additional 5%. Gazelle.com. No obligation. Get the quote now at Gazelle.com. Then you can decide on Tuesday when Apple makes its announcement what you're going to do. That's a good point. If there's a good camera in the Mini, that might be a really good choice, huh? I bet there will be. Thank you, Jeff M.
I love them.
Hey, look who's here. Oh, it's Dickie. So, Dick, look at what happened.
Yes. You didn't bust your ball. What did he break? What did Leo break?
Remember the Sky Mall thing was that iPhone helicopter?
Yes.
So I ordered one, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 10. I got 10 of them.
What?
I don't know if I screwed up. I got to go back and look at the tape.
Oh my God.
Either I put a 0 at the end, or they thought, finally, a sucker.
Oh my word.
So I guess we'll send them back. Or what we could do is we could give them away on the next Giz Wiz. What if we gave them away?
Oh, we have to make people do something for them.
Right.
Yeah, that could be.
Of course, you know they're going to be crappy. Hold on.
Well, we're not sure yet.
Hold on.
For the password, yo ho ho is what you say. What's the pirate password now?
All right, Carbonite's your last live read, Leo.
Ho ho ho!
Yo ho ho! We're all a bunch of pirates to the music industry. You're all a bunch of thieves. Nothing that gripes me more than paying $9.50 to go see a movie and then watch an ad saying, don't steal our movie. Dude, I just paid $10 to see your stupid movie. And you're calling me a pirate. I already paid. I'm in here. Don't steal your movie. Anyway, don't get me started. Dick DeBartolo is here, Mad Magazine. He's a nice guy. He doesn't want to get in this. He's a nice guy. The Mad Magazine's maddest writer for 5 decades. He's also a complete and utter gadget freak.
Yes.
He does a great show called The Giz Wiz with us every week on our podcast network and joins us on the radio show every week to talk about a gadget of the week. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, buddy?
I am feeling great. I'm in fine fettle. You know, I saw Madonna on in Denver on Thursday.
Really? What was that like?
She is amazing. You know, it's interesting because the technology used in these big concert shows now, the projector technology, computer CGI, the lights, is all so much more advanced, you know, that they really put on a show. I mean, she, using projectors and CGI, was able to, in effect, make a giant cathedral and then smash it. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Wow.
Great show. Probably the best show.
I hope you got some good
ever.
ideas for the Giz Wiz that we can use.
I did. I'm gonna have a cathedral on the show.
Okay, good.
So what do you got for us?
You know, I went to Comic-Con last week not to look at comics, not to sign autographs, but to meet the folks from Think Geek, who also are at Comic-Con, to introduce the Mega Stomp Panic.
I don't know what it is, but I like the name.
I know you do. So their feeling is Halloween's coming up.
Yeah.
How about if you don't feel like wearing a costume, you just wear an audio costume. So you put the Mega Panic on. So this one part of it goes on your belt.
It looks like a little Walkman, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it lights up and it has a little amplifier and a speaker in it. But then there's a little device that goes on your belt. And this is the water.
Like I'm in water. What's going on?
Every step you take is like
they call it an audio reality costume.
Exactly. It's very funny. And playing with it, you can be a monster so that you can
in other words, you still need a costume, but this is sound effects you carry with you.
They're saying it could just be the audio reality costume, and you don't need to wear the costume. But if you are wearing a costume, this really enhances.
Now, does it sound? I mean, it sounds. Maybe this is an artifact of the radio, but it sounds a little tinny, a little thin. Does it sound?
You know, it's really not that thin. My favorite. Let me see if I can remember what it was. Oh, yes, to be...
Oh, you could be a Pac-Man.
Yes, and as you spin and turn, you make all these weird sounds. It's very fun.
So there's a pirate, there's a robot, there's zombie, there's monster.
My favorite, I think, is either the 8-bit robot man, because if you spin in place... It makes you look like you're doing these weird things. And I like stomping in the water. It's great fun.
That's so funny. So this is good. I might have to get this for a kid in my life who wants to have like a costume, and then you can have something that the sound effects that go along with it.
Exactly. And the reason I'm doing it a touch earlier than Halloween is that they said they just got in their first shipment, and that if people want it, they have to order it, you know, at least a week before Halloween. So if you're interested in that, it's $39.95, and it's thinkgeek.com, and it's called Mega Stomp Panic.
I love it. That's great. Now, didn't you win an award at the last Comet, like an Inky or an Inkster or something like the last?
Oh,
Comet?
yeah, I won an Inkpot award, but that was already a year old. It's old hat now. Oh, even though I do still wear it on my old hat.
Nothing like an old hat with an Inkpot award on it.
Exactly, yeah.
Join us for the Giz Fizz right after the radio show. Dickie D likes to do a little bit of fun stuff on the show. And then, of course, every Tuesday at, what do we do now? 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. my time, 2 p.m. your time.
Yeah. On Tuesdays for the Giz Wiz at twit.tv, where we review gadgets. I have now... Somehow something went wrong at the factory, and they sent me 10 helicopters. So we'll figure out a way to give those away.
I see a mid-air battle.
We do this thing I can't really use the name on the radio. It's not polite. Junk I found on Sky Mall. You know, that catalog you see in the airplane? And we buy crazy stuff, and I review it. And sometimes it's actually good, like those parakeets. Those were good.
Yes, and that didn't come from there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, this was on Sky Mall, these iPhone-controlled helicopter. I'll review it soon. And even if they're terrible, we'll give them away.
That'll teach them not to watch.
Thank you, Dick. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see. Larry in Placentia, California. Line 4, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Larry.
Hi there, Leo. I've been a Palm guy since Palm 3.
Wow. I have my Life Drive right here. 5 gigabyte hard drive built in there. Yeah.
You didn't do the conversion to a flash?
No, in fact, I can't even charge this anymore. It has a proprietary charger, which I've lost, but sure is a nice device. I love the Palm stuff. I was a big Palm user, but, I don't even, is the company, they got bought by HP, and I think HP just pretty much put them out of their misery.
Well, unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah.
So in any event, I've been using the Palm 680 for, as old as it is, and would like to try and migrate the data to a newer smartphone. And trying to follow what's online, it looks like iPhone is easier to move to than Android.
I wouldn't say that's the case. The issue is you're going to have to use the Palm desktop to get everything off that Palm. Right? Are you already syncing the Palm desktop?
Oh, I've been doing that for years.
Yeah. And then you just export it from, and you're going to do this once, and there's going to be a little bit of pain, but once it's done, it's done. You're going to export out the contacts, the calendar, the notes into a form. Now, my recommendation would be, before you even buy a device, is to try this using Google. So the contacts go to Google Contacts, the calendar goes to Google Calendar. It's a free service. It's online, synchronizes with almost anything. If you can get it into Google, you're golden. In fact, that's my advice to everybody. Put it into Google, because then you can buy any phone. You could buy an Android phone, you could buy an iPhone, you could buy a Windows phone. All three of them will allow you to hook up to a Google account and synchronize automatically back and forth. So Google is now your new desktop, your new Palm desktop. Does that make sense? Once you've done that, then you can choose the phone completely independently. Yeah, even BlackBerry will work with it. This is pretty much how I do it now, and I am I go through phones every couple of weeks. Sometimes I get new phones, and so I don't want to spend any time re-entering data. So I use Google as my central repository. Calendar, contacts. They have a task, the to-do list manager now, and they have notes as well. They have Google Docs. Once you've done all that, you've got a permanent storage in the cloud that you can synchronize with your desktop using Google Drive, that you can synchronize with most applications. Will support it now. It's become the lingua franca for this stuff, and it certainly will work on any smartphone. Then you decide what smartphone you want. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate the call. Have a great day. I think you'll like the new phones, whichever phone you get. It's a big jump. Hey, thanks for joining me, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the TWiT Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.